Hi, my name is Bhagaban, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Defy, which is a social crypto exchange based in India.
That you have to get your hands dirty. You can't do a startup with a corporate mindset.
When people tell me that I can't do something, I will do whatever it takes to prove them wrong.
लाइफ में ना दो तरह से कॉम्पनसेट होते हो आप. वन इज योर अर्निंग एंड वन इज योर लर्निंग.
Fundamental each has always been खुद करो.
I'm your host, Akshay Dutt, and you're listening to Spotlight, a podcast in which I speak to disruptive startup founders.
Here's an interesting statistic. India was the second largest crypto market in the world before the adverse regulatory changes that happened recently. Blows my mind. Crypto skeptics will tell you that cryptocurrency is a scam and it's a Ponzi scheme, while crypto believers will tell you that it's the future of currency and finance. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Crypto suffers from the hype cycle that you used to see in the equity markets, but it is here to stay and it is a legitimate asset class for investors to add to their portfolio. And just as fintech startups like Zerodha are making it easier for investors to enter equity investing, so too there is a need for startups to make it easier for first-time investors to enter crypto investing. This is the opportunity that Bhagaban Behera spotted and decided to pursue by starting up Defy Club. Bhagaban is an IIT Kharagpur alumnus and a serial entrepreneur who runs ventures in diverse sectors. And in this fascinating conversation with Akshay Dutt, he takes us through his roller coaster ride of finding his purpose as a startup founder through multiple pivots.
Those days, startups were not like really common. And today there is a playbook to startup, right? Okay. Like this is how you get a co-founder. Maybe parents are okay with you doing it. There is a way, there is a lot of people who are ready to fund you, etc. So I think in those days, it was tougher. It was like just the beginning, not just in India, maybe across the globe as well. So there were only maybe one or two people who had tried to do something. And I interned with one of those companies, and there was a company called Defy Systems. They were building something on RFID those days. So I interned there. So these people had taken up a room and converted into their office, and three of them were working there.
Okay. Like a startup in a garage kind of a...
Right. So like a corner room in a hostel, they had taken up and they were trying to build something. And so I think, but in general, there was a little pressure from seniors and all, ki, kuch to karo. So you do dramatics or you do whatever. And there used to be a lot of these competitions, like business plan competitions and all, where you had to come up with ideas and all. So there the focus was not on commercialization, but just at least my focus was also to like just build things, present it to people and see whether it gets appreciated or not. And maybe there used to be a prize money. To win that prize money was the entire focus. But so when I was in my third year, I went to Singapore for an internship for 2 months. So there the startup ecosystem was a little ahead of India. It was still nascent and coming up, but it was a little ahead. Like maybe there were 10 companies there which were trying to grow. So those 2 months, I was a little inspired about what was happening in Singapore. And when I came back to India, my idea was ki startup hi karna hai. But then I was not very confident enough, or neither did I have the money. So my idea was ki I go take a job and save up some money. And I wanted to work for 1 year. During that 1 year, come up with idea that I will work on, maybe build a prototype and all. And after 1 year, quit the job and go build a startup.
Use that money savings.
Yeah.
So like working in Barclay in Singapore, so you would have probably managed to save quite a bit. Like when you decided that you want to quit Barclays, did you quit Barclays to like start up?
Yes, I did. But it was not as per plan, as in before joining, the plan was ki quit within 1 year. But when I joined, it was in different country. There were new friends, and the company wasn't bad. The company was great. I enjoyed working there as well. I enjoyed the people. The environment was pretty good. And in Singapore, I think you get a lot of travel opportunities as well. And the pay was pretty high. So you could actually travel out of country every weekend out there. So 1 year almost went into this only, like making friends.
Honeymoon period.
So as 1 year passed, then I realized that, hey, I didn't pursue. I used to read news and all, but I never did anything myself. I used to follow what other people are doing. Then as 1 year passed, there was this regret that I didn't pursue my plan. And so then is when I started. In the weekends, I used to build stuff. I used to look for people who I could partner with. I used to join the startup accelerators that were just coming up there. I used to go to startup events and also. So this went on for maybe a year or so. I mean, I could code. So I used to build stuff to experiment with on latest technologies and all. Right. So then I built something where Barclays itself was a customer. There was a need for it. And I also presented that in a business plan competition in Singapore. And some investors said that they will fund me for that. So then I thought, okay, this is going in a good direction. Maybe I should quit. So then I went and talked to my dad that, hey, some investors ready to fund this idea. I built something where I have one or two customers who are interested. So my dad, in the first instance, he agreed that, hey, go evaluate and try it out. But then after that, he went and discussed this with his friends and neighbors and whoever. And then he came back, he's like, nothing doing like this. At that point, I was not confident enough as well on myself that I could risk everything as well. So I actually didn't quit, but I continued working on the product that I was building. So 1 year went where I built the product while I was within the company. So I told him that, hey, I used to work on this only on weekends, but the nights and mornings used to go in that. So then there came a time again where some competitors started coming up in the US building exactly that product. So then I was like, hey, I've been working on this for 1 year. Either I do it full time and scale this, or I leave the dream of this and just go back, just keep doing the job only. Right. So then I was like very determined of leaving, quitting and starting the company. So I told my manager. So my manager gave me two options. He said, if you really want to do your startup, you quit right now. He said, like, if your startup fails, I will take you back wherever I am. And he gave me the second option that if you're confused, then you don't quit. And you can't quit for 1 year. So I put my papers that day. So then, since then, I've been an entrepreneur. So I built around 3 businesses in Singapore, most of which didn't work out or didn't scale to the extent I wanted to.
Like immediately after quitting, like tell me, what was the first business that you built?
Sure. So that was into advertising and marketing. So this is 2010, right? When smartphones were not that common. And people were still using SMS and all. WhatsApp had still not come yet. So I had built a way of using SMS as a medium to make outdoor advertising interactive. So basically, you could use SMS to interact with outdoor billboards. Right. So that time was the time when Facebook and Twitter were becoming common and advertising budgets used to go towards them. While the outdoor advertising, the traditional media used to suffer because they were not interactive. There was no analytics. There was no social thing there. Our idea was in Singapore, you have these digital billboards almost everywhere. Our idea was to run interactive games on those screens and you could use SMS to interact with them. So that way it made that fun. Advertisers could track who is interacting, could give them vouchers, rewards. And since it was like a game, hundreds of people used to play together. And there was like fun campaigns we used to run for large companies. So this was the business.
But it did not scale up.
So it was kind of profitable. I ran that business for around 4 years. We had large customers like most of the large media companies in Singapore, Southeast Asia. So shopping malls, airports were our customers.
And this was bootstrapped, like you didn't raise any funding.
No, we did raise funding. We had some funding from the Singapore government, some private investors in Singapore, some angel investors from India supported us then. But it became like a service business of sorts where you had to keep doing projects and it didn't like really scale up to the extent we wanted to.
No, but even a service business can scale up, but you were not interested in running a service business.
So I think service business can scale up to a certain extent. I mean, it's also like what you want to do and how big a business you want to build. So I think if you are a product business, then you focus on building a product and the number of customers doesn't matter. So in that business, again, service businesses are also of different kinds. The business that we were in also needed creativity and all those things, which doesn't scale.
Got it. Okay. Okay. And then like, when did you decide, okay, this is not going anywhere?
So I think when I started, I didn't have these ideas of what is scalability or like what's a good business. So it was more about what am I passionate about or what do, like say if 5 customers tell me that I want this, that means I'm kind of validated that I am going to build it. Nothing more than that I was thinking. And like say me getting like a first revenue from a customer was like a big thing for me. But as I matured, it was more about how big this business can be? How many more such customers can I get? And it's also an opportunity cost of what else is happening, and could I be doing something else which is bigger and I'm more capable of doing than doing this. So at a point, these realizations started coming in that I'm not doing the best of the time that I'm in. This was 2015.
Did you like sell it off? Did you exit and start something new?
So there were some customers using the product, so we kept it as is. It kind of died its own death, like a slow death.
And what did you do next then?
So the previous business, the thing is, we couldn't sell it off because like service business requires the team also to be there, right?
And there's no IP to sell as such.
There was some IP, but you need to be there to operate it and everything. And I didn't want to be part of that. By that time, I was like out of my savings and everything was burnt out. So for around 2 years, I was more like a consultant to other companies, building stuff for them while experimenting on the side for myself. Started two small things also parallelly, but those also didn't scale. I mean, I didn't have capital and everything to.
So then what was the next big thing that you did after that then?
So 2017, I moved back to India. This was like I wanted to be closer to parents. And there were also challenges building a business in Singapore. Like talent was like really expensive and not to be found there, right? Because it's a small country. If you bring people from India, they need visa, they have minimum salaries, all that was there. When I started back in 2010, Singapore was a good place to start up because you could build something there. There were a lot of companies at home who would want to try out your product. So you could get customers quickly. And then you could branch out to India, Indonesia, Malaysia, everywhere. But then in 2016, 17, startups started coming up. So you being in Singapore didn't have that strong advantage there because you may build something in Singapore, but when you go to Indonesia, you'll find that there is a company doing the same thing there as well. So then the natural thought was like, I'm originally from India and India is growing as a big market and there is a lot of talent out there. And there's a lot of money out there flowing as well, chasing ideas. And Singapore as a country, all problems are solved. The government is the best startup out there. The government goes and cracks everything. You'll not find roads with potholes or any system that is glitchy or anything. So then there is very less opportunity for an entrepreneur to actually build something there because everything is solved. If there is any problem, the government gets the first take at it. So that was like the realization that India is full of problems and a person like me who has gained some experience building something could have an edge building something in India.
This is when you like started on the journey of Walrus, like after coming back to India?
No, so Walrus came a little later. So when I came back to India, since I was doing B2B, I wanted to start on the B2B kind of a business. So I started something called Monk AI, which was along with another friend who I met after coming back. So this was about building intelligent customer support tools for Indian businesses. So after running that for some time, I realized that Indian businesses were not the same as how I had seen in Singapore. It was much tougher to crack Indian enterprises. They ask you.
This was like Yellow.ai, like Monk AI was like that.
Yellow.ai, yes. So Indian enterprises, they will ask you to do pilots for maybe 6 months, and then payments are not regular, and every customer also wants you to build something different. So this was almost a year. We were making revenue and everything, but again, this was not something we wanted to pursue. So after a year of this, we dropped it. And after that, Walrus started in end of 2019.
Okay. And what was the idea behind Walrus?
So one discovery that we had is that children or young people today were much advanced than like a decade back, right? Like a 15-year-old today is almost the same as a 25-year-old, maybe 10 years back. They are much more digitally savvy. They are much more independent. They want to do things on their own. They are very global from day zero. There is no difference between the interests of a person in India, in Bangalore, and someone in New York. And they wanted to do much more than their parents had even done, right? Even at a school age. So this was the insight that we had, and we wanted to build like a platform for young people to empower them. And we thought like money was the first step to this independence, this empowerment. So we saw that while UPI and everything was booming, the minors were still dealing with cash because no bank was providing a good bank account towards them. So we thought we will build a good bank account for minors And that would be the hook. We will give them a sexy card, and everyone will have a walrus card with them. And that gives us the power to build many more things for this segment. So the idea was start with a card, make everyone have a walrus card, transact with it. You build that brand affinity with that customer and build more things for this audience. And no brand was really focusing on this segment. Yeah, so that was the idea behind Walrus.
This is also what FamPay did. And of course, they did it much later. I think almost 2 years after you started, right?
No, so FamPay and us actually started around the same time. They got funding from Sequoia, Y Combinator and all. We had some challenges there in terms of raising funds, and also we raised much lesser capital from angels and some angel syndicates, and also the growth was phenomenal. The current product, by the time we pivoted, we had close to 1 million registered users on the platform. People were loving our product and
issued 1 million cards.
Yeah, so physical and virtual cards. So yes.
What was the proposition for a teenager? And how did you enable, just tell me the nuts and bolts of it. What does the teenager get and where does the money come into his account? And
so the product was a mobile app plus a debit card plus UPI. So three core value props. So there, parents could send you money to your account, and you could, if you wanted to do a large payment, like say you want to go for a movie, you could use your card. Or if you wanted to buy something from e-commerce like Flipkart, you could use your card. If you wanted to go outside and buy milk from the nearest grocery store, you could scan and make payment through UPI out there. We also had a rewards ecosystem of its own. We had a community of people where we used to organize events and workshops and all for these people to be better at money, to learn different things. The card itself was very cool. It had, when you ordered the card, you could actually print your name on it. So you could put your signature on it. We called it the Walrus signature card. And we were the first in India to actually charge for a debit card. Like banks and other companies give the debit card for free. We thought, can we come up with the coolest card out there and create a value prop for which people will pay? And we wanted to test it out. And we were surprised that we...
And how much did you charge for the card?
We were charging 500 rupees. We were pretty surprised that people didn't mind paying 500 rupees for something that they saw value in, and especially when they were kids, right?
And so this was a prepaid instrument, essentially.
This was a prepaid instrument, yes.
And did you need some regulatory approvals to launch this? Did you need a bank partner? From the back end, how was it working?
So we actually had 2 banking partners for getting this product live. So what we saw was no bank was providing card and UPI together as a solution. And we spent a lot of time trying to find a bank which provides both of these in the way we want. There was no banks doing that. So we actually talked to 2.
Isn't UPI standard? The moment you open an account, by default, you get a UPI ID.
No, so the thing is, these people don't have an account. So they don't have UPI ID.
Oh, they don't have so the account is like a Walrus account in which you have created pockets, like this pocket has money from this ID. Okay.
So the product that we had was almost a bank account without actually being a bank account. So that was the value prop, where you didn't need to go to the bank branch. You didn't need to sign up for forms. And most of these banks have bad user interfaces. So someone who is used to Instagram, Snapchat expects that kind of a solution for them. So our product was quite cool in terms of its UI, UX, the customer service we provided. So that was what attracted these people.
So it was essentially like a wallet service which had a card link to it.
It was a wallet service which had a card and UPI linked to it, and that made a big difference to these people.
I mean, as a product, it would not be significantly different from, say, a Paytm wallet, except that there is a card element here. Paytm doesn't have a card, and it is focused on teenagers. So you are building your user experience.
It would be different in the sense that if you have a Paytm wallet, so a lot of teenagers use Paytm as well. The challenge is it doesn't have UPI if you don't have a bank account, and it doesn't have a physical card as well. So even if you use Paytm, you still need to link it to a bank account to get UPI, right? And then with the advent of UPI, Paytm wallets adoption was decreasing, right? Merchants were not accepting Paytm wallet. They wanted UPI.
2% MDR Paytm charges them.
Not just 2%, but they could get the money instantly in their account as well. While in Paytm, maybe it was 1 day later or 2 days later. So, and all these UPI apps were offering rewards and everything, and they were marketing heavily. So merchants were already shifted towards UPI.
And like, was it essentially just an issue of not being aggressive in fundraise that you decided to pivot?
No, actually, we actually pivoted after fundraise, as in like
How much did you raise?
we had raised actually $5.5 million. So we participated in the Y Combinator program, and that time the growth was good. So we got a lot of investors to back us, and
And if, FamPay was also running at the same time, like you were like neck to neck, something like that.
the challenge that happened is that one of the banking partners, they withdrew the UPI service that we were providing to our users.
But you had the other one, no? Like that is still it's a bump on the road. Like,
It was not a bump, it was like a deal breaker. It was like a showstopper because UPI was the feature that was used the most frequently. I mean, like these teens or the younger people, they buy a 1,000 rupee thing once in a while, but they keep buying that 20, 30 rupee thing every day. And it's also that these things, they go hand in hand, that if I use your app for smaller payments, which I do frequently, then I will also use your app for the larger payments. If there is a use case which you're not providing, like the smaller payments I cannot do with your app, then I still need something else to do these smaller payments. Like maybe I need a...
but you had two bank partners, no? The other partner was still giving UPI or like?
No. So the bank partners were giving, one was giving a card, the other was giving UPI. Yeah. So the UPI went away, and there was no other bank out there in India which provided UPI in the format that we wanted, where the UPI and the card could be linked together. So most banks, the UPI solution today, what they provide, needs a bank account to be there. And from our experience working with banks, we had this thought that it's not going to be resolved soon. This happened due to some regulatory change. Either this bank is going to take 2 years to come up to speed with regulations, or another bank to build that is going to take that time. And we as a startup can't wait for 2 years for something to. So that's why we looked for.
How is FamPay still there? Like they are not focused on UPI, like they're a card first kind of a offering.
So they have UPI for some of their old users. So the new users, they still don't have UPI.
Okay. So this is like an industry-wide issue of UPI is not really now.
So yeah, so it not just affected us, but it did affect FamPay. Even Jupiter had a product called Bullet, which was like a credit on UPI. So that product is also stopped right now because they don't have UPI to work with. And it worked maybe 5 or 6 other players as well, who were kind of using UPI to build different other solutions.
So basically, like RBI kind of mandated that bank account is necessary for UPI. So therefore, all these accountless UPI services got hit.
No, they did not mandate that, but they put that the bank has to do ABC to be able to enable this. But then so that ABC might take time, and this may not be the top priority for the bank to do this ABC to enable us.
So when did this happen? The block on UPI?
This was September last year.
Then what? Like you figured out that, okay, this is like roadblock on this path. So then like you went back to the drawing board?
Yeah. So one first decision was not to wait. So we didn't want to wait. Then we evaluated a bunch of things we could actually do. So one of them was like build a proper savings bank account.
Like a neobank.
Yeah, like what say Neo, Jupiter, etc. are doing today. So that was one direction. The other was like go towards a credit card. The third was in the beginning, like our vision was to help young India, help the new age India save, spend, and invest better. So the direction that we were going towards was investing or helping people grow their money. And crypto was something that was coming up where more and more people wanted to participate. And that's why we wanted to go there because of a couple of reasons. So the first being, you don't need to rely on banks for most of the operations there. And we believed that there's a lot of innovation in the crypto or blockchain space yet to happen. So we wanted to be in a playground where there is a lot yet to be done, and we could play a significant role in turning things around.
I guess by this time you must have also kind of been disillusioned with both like products which need a corporate to win. like that, because your first business in India, you had to sell to corporates, and that did not work out so well. The second business, even though you were doing a B2C product, but you still had a corporate alliance you needed, and which is why I think that the space of decentralization would have been inherently appealing, because it's free of corporate influence, so to say. So what did you want to build in this space of decentralized finance?
So when we went back to the drawing board, and also we started speaking to people about what did they know about crypto or blockchain, and what were the problems and what did they really want. And we wanted to build for the common people, not like very advanced kind of users. What we realized is that although crypto, blockchain, Bitcoin is a buzzword, people really do not know in depth about it. And we wanted to build for India to start with. Right? The realization was that people don't know much apart from Bitcoin. People know that this Bitcoin is asset or something where if I put money, historically it has grown and my money will grow. So the motivation was that I want to grow my money, and Bitcoin is a tool for that. So initially, when we started, we didn't want to get into the market education scheme. We didn't want to build something totally new, which people didn't understand. And we had to spend years and a lot of money educating people about it. So our thought was that we start with something which people already understand, and we solve their problems around it. So that's why we started as a crypto exchange where people can buy and sell cryptocurrencies. We wanted to differentiate on it. We wanted to innovate on it as well. So the key problems and challenges we realized was, one, people had trust issues. There has been a lot of scams in the past. A lot of companies have made people invest millions of dollars and then just disappeared.
Like the hacks, like the exchanges getting hacked, or like fraud exchanges, like. But these are all like global cases. Now, India hasn't had anything like that. Like
these are global cases, but people are aware.
But people have heard about.
People have heard about it. People don't know the exact details, but people vaguely know that this is a phenomenon that can happen. Right? In India also.
Essentially, your father would never invest in crypto because of these trust issues.
That's correct. And in India also, like a lot of smaller scams has happened where people have tried to make people get the dream of getting rich quick and then just disappeared. A lot of small incidents has happened. So we thought this was something that we needed to solve for. Like, say, how do we make people trust crypto, trust us? And so trust was one thing. The second problem was awareness and education, right? How do people know what's the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum, and which is a better coin to invest? Right. So if you see Twitter and all, you will find a lot of people trying to push these sit coins or the meme coins and all. Right. So as a person, as a consumer, I hear a lot of mixed signals, but where do I go? How do I make a decision? So our thinking was the solution to all of this is a friend. Right. So in general, like in the real world, if you want to buy insurance, you want to buy mutual funds, you want to buy stocks, you want to buy crypto, you go to a friend, right? So in every group, there is one person who is highly intellectual, highly curious, and he has done the research for himself, and he is quite happy to share his research with everyone else. And that becomes the source to taking decisions. And if I hear from a friend, decisions happen quick, right? So we wanted to replicate that experience within the app, where it's not just you and your lonely journey with crypto, but you, your friends, maybe experts, influencers, their journeys and your journey together. You can have discussions. You can see what they are investing in and then take a decision, right? So this was our thesis about crypto. The other thing we realized is, unlike stocks and other things, crypto is very brag-worthy. You don't invest 10,000 rupees in Bitcoin and don't tell anyone.
Yeah,
you are going to talk to your neighbors, you're going to talk to your colleagues. So I think there is an inherent feel about
desire to share.
So I think that's what we wanted to capitalize on, and it's in progress. So we are building all of these things today.
If you like to hear stories of founders, then we have tons of great stories from entrepreneurs who have built billion-dollar businesses. Just search for the Founder Thesis podcast on any audio streaming app like Spotify, Gaana, Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to the show.
Are you building a decentralized exchange or like a exchange, like a regular exchange, like say CoinSwitch, CoinDCX, or WazirX? Like
Yeah, right now it's a centralized exchange. So the challenge with decentralized exchange is how do people, those are complex to start use.
and they're not for layperson; they're for like crypto enthusiasts.
So we wanted to build for 80% of India. Like who doesn't have the time and exposure to do such complicated stuff.
And is your exchange live?
It's live, yeah.
Okay. And the other things that you want to do, like tell me what is the plan there, what is live, what is on the roadmap? Like you wanted to educate. So what is the product feature about educate, which is currently live, and what's the roadmap there?
So not a lot of features we have built, but what today is live is one is like we have simplified the user experience a lot, where people can sign up and do KYC and get started quickly. Instead of having today education within the app.
And you've changed the name also, right? Like it's now Defy or Defy.club.
Yeah, it's called Defy. Yeah, it's called Defy Club because we want to build like a club of sorts because of the social and community aspects of it. Yeah, so today it's live as a vanilla exchange where you can buy and sell crypto easily. We do a lot of Twitter spaces, a lot of workshops and everything about educating people about how to go about things. We are partnering with several colleges and universities and trying to create crypto societies within these colleges where students themselves get aware of these things and also make their families and their ecosystems aware about crypto. And the idea also is to learn from these activities and bring some of them into the product. We have taken a start at the social aspect by building a gamified system there where you get rewarded for bringing your friends into the system.
Rewarded in like rewarded in crypto or like what?
The reward is in crypto, yes.
Okay. You earn some coins, maybe not Bitcoin, but some of the other coins you would be earning.
So some coins you get if you invite your friends, and if you keep using our platform, you get these rewards. The next thing that we are launching, which is in beta, is we call it as baskets. So we are working with financial experts and advanced crypto people in creating something which we call baskets. So a basket is like a bunch of coins put together in various weights.
It's like a portfolio, like a investment portfolio.
It's based on different themes, or it's based on certain ideas, or it's focused on growth, or so there are various strategies around why you put certain coins together and in what ratio to achieve different.
Like one basket could be a Elon Musk basket, for example.
Right. So we don't have a Elon Musk basket yet, but that's a good idea. We have baskets like a blue chip basket, which comprises of all the top coins. We have a basket on metaverse, which has 5 coins of metaverse put together. So that way, if you're putting 1,000 rupees there, you are actually diversifying. Instead of betting on one coin, you are betting on the metaverse itself. We have NFT, we have decentralized exchanges, we have DeFi, then also like Elon Musk, we have several other baskets on popular people. I think we missed out Elon Musk. We are definitely going to add him.
How can you miss out the most popular man in the world? Okay. This is like what small case is doing, right? Like sectoral specific collection of equity in their case. In your case, it says cryptos. Okay.
So the second version of it where we want some of the experts to actually manage these baskets for you, where if a coin goes down, up, whatever strategy changes, they will do the rebalancing for you. So you as an investor, if you believe in something, just put your money there. It will be taken care by an expert out there. So this is going to come in the future.
Okay. So this would be like autopilot. As an investor, I don't need to do anything. As in when my expert is doing the rebalancing, my portfolio is also rebalanced.
But I need to choose a direction that, hey, I'm bullish on metaverse. That's why I want to put my money on metaverse. It's also how much risk do I want to take? Am I conservative and I want to, then you invest in Bitcoin, Ethereum, these kind of things. But if you're looking for like a 100x return in a year, you might have a different choice of basket out there. So that gives you the option to choose a particular direction. So in some of these, you are expecting a return short term, some you are expecting long term, some you are expecting that I'm okay, it increasing by 10%, but it is more stable and less risky. At some point, it's like I can risk it all, but I want at least 100% increase.
Okay. Now, there are different ways of doing a crypto exchange, I believe. Like there is something called open book. What is that? Like what kind of an exchange are you? Like I think like CoinSwitch is a different type of exchange. CoinDCX is a different type. And
so CoinSwitch is a aggregator of exchanges. So they partner with other exchanges and place your order there. So we are similar to that. So we partner with larger exchanges as well. So when someone places an order on our exchange, it goes out and gets placed at the best exchange with the best value out there. But
and what is the other type of exchange? This is one type. Like what is the other type?
So you can be your own exchange as well. Like, so if you have larger volumes,
where you're directly connecting buyers and sellers,
or directly connecting there.
Oh, that is called open book, or I think is that the term, or open market? Or I'm not able to recall, but
I'm not aware of any such term like that. But it's more they do their own internal order matching where they don't take it out.
Who does this, like internal matching? The WazirX, I think, because they would have the volumes to do it.
So I think most exchanges are like a mix of both. So if whatever I want to buy is available internally, I match it. If it is not, then maybe I go out somewhere and do something.
Is there, like in equities, you have these equity trading apps like Zerodha, which connect you up to NSE, like that centralized exchange. Is there a parallel to this in the crypto world?
There is. So you have to see like, so what is NSE for crypto? So this might be the decentralized exchange or the larger exchanges out there, since there's no government body controlling these. So I think every small exchange is kind of doing that only. They connect to a larger exchange out there, or not connect to a decentralized exchange of sorts.
And which is the largest exchange, like at a centralized level? Like
in India, I am not sure. I think the top 3 claim to be the number 1 out there.
All 3 of them are saying they're number 1. Okay. What kind of trading volume do you see currently? Like
I wouldn't want to disclose the exact numbers, but we have thousands of customers trading daily.
Are these the Walrus customers which got ported, or have you shut down Walrus completely, or like what is the...
So we have given notice to our users that we will set the product in March. There are some people still using the card and everything. We gave this notice around 2 months back. So in end of March, this is going to be shut down. Yeah, so the current users are not Walrus users because we mandate that these people have to be above 18 to participate. With Walrus, around maybe half of them were below 18, half of them were above 18. So whereas we haven't tried to get those users here yet.
So how did you do user acquisition for this? First, in fact, I want to understand how you did user acquisition for Walrus. Then you tell me how you did for this. You had pretty phenomenal customer acquisition at Walrus. So talk to me about that first, and then tell me what is the customer acquisition plan for Defy.
So for Walrus, our strategy is like really worked out. So it's one, there was no one else, there were not many other brands building for this segments. And so when we started advertising to them, we were actually reaching out to a very unique audience that was left out. And we started with building a product that served critical pain points, as well as we focused on the coolness factor of the product. So we built an app which was like, say, it might be a trivial thing, but which had dark theme. So no bank app today has like a dark theme. And for the segment that like really, these people might be miners, but they have a lot of deep product sense. So they want the best of products. So that dark theme, and then within our app, there were a lot of effects and other things which like really made people feel like it's wow. So that was
like animations and all that.
Yeah, some gestures and the way the card came out, and there was a lot of focus on that. And we also had some rewards engine where you got rewarded for keeping on using our platform. Then within...
Were you also rewarding for referrals, like for bringing in your users?
It was only like briefly, that was introduced much later. Then the main thing that we worked on was the card. So we spent around 3 months designing the card. We're among the first few in India to bring a black card to the market. black and minimalistic card. So the way banks approached it is like flood the card with their own brand and with more and more information. We focused on what all can we remove from the card. Keeping the card like plain minimalistic was the focus, right? So we did a lot of innovations on that. Like, so one, it was a black card. One, it was a very clean and minimalistic card. And it was a vertical card. So we are among the first few in India to introduce a vertical card. So if you see, again, this is like 2 years back. That time, like every card that came out from a bank was a horizontal card. So we tried to make that card vertical. Then the killer thing was we allowed people to put their own signature on the card. So within the app, you can scribble, like basically you can create a signature and that gets printed on the card. And that was a game changer for us because minors, kids, they want to be adults, right? They want to be like at least 15-year-old. He doesn't want to be called a bacha or a kid or a child or whatever. He wants that sense of adulthood while he is not an adult yet. And this signature makes him feel like his whole card with his own signature makes him feel like an adult. And he's like, I'm powerful. My dad even doesn't have a card like this. So now he wants to show off this card to his friends, his parents, his neighbors, everyone that he knows. He wants to go and show off. So that way it spreads. So after the moment we built this card, we were flooded with hundreds of YouTube videos and Instagram stories.
Unboxing videos. Okay.
Yeah, that people created. And this was the segment that no one else was targeting. So think of a 15-year-old getting a super cool card. He wants to talk about it because there is no other brand like apart from like maybe educational like Byju's and all focusing on this segment. So any product that he gets and he likes, he wants to talk about it. So I think that was the killer thing where it led to being viral, where lots and lots of people came through these Instagram stories and YouTube videos that our users created. So then we used the card as an element to run paid campaigns on Instagram. We focused on Instagram mainly, and that helped us scale. Once we had reached a certain scale, we started experimenting more on the referrals and other things about how do we expand from there. So I think
you must have had pretty good click-through rates because this is something which every teen would want, but they would not have thought it's possible. I'm assuming that Instagram was a great way to acquire users. Okay. And sorry, so you were saying what you did later on then?
Yeah. So later on, we tried to use referrals where we incentivized people to bring their friends. We brought in a rewards program as well. We worked with some teenage influencers as well, who had large followings, who were famous for creating unboxing videos and also. So we partnered with them and took their help to scale as well.
And FamPay's card also launched around the same time because I think they also had a very similar strategy of unboxing videos as the way to become viral. I'm just wondering if they saw what you did and then adopted that or whether you did it first.
No, so we launched our cards at the same time, but their card and our card was different. We were the first to introduce like the signature or the personalized factor, which they adopted 1 year later. When it launched, the difference between the two cards was ours was a MasterCard, theirs was a RuPay card. Ours had both cards were black. Ours had a signature whilst theirs wasn't. But the products were more or less kind of similar there. But we saw good adoption because of the things that I mentioned. So where we could scale without like putting too much of capital out there.
And what is your strategy at Defy? Are you currently pressing the pedal on customer acquisition or you're right now just letting it happen organically and waiting for all the features to be built?
So we haven't pressed the pedals yet, but again, we are not waiting for it to be organic as well. So we have some experiments going on in terms of growth. So the challenge with DeFi is Facebook, etc. do not allow you to advertise crypto. So the engine that we had developed earlier about you leveraging these kind of channels to acquire users quickly and for cheap is kind of broken there. So it's about adopting other kind of modes to advertise.
So what are they like influencer marketing, I guess would be one.
Influencer marketing is definitely one. There are some channels which are open for crypto advertising, like say you can advertise on OTT platforms like Hotstar, etc. You have news publications like blogs or news sites they can run your ads. And then
I think TV channels also, right? Like
TV channels are also there, but it's a little frowned upon by, right? Then you can also go the different route of, like, say, you also have a parallel educational content and all that is there. Then you market that. Through that, you promote your brand out there.
like webinars and stuff like that.
Yeah, webinars are one of the things. I think today no one wants to learn, right? No one wants to read books. No one wants to watch one videos. So it's about how do you mix your content into what people are already watching? Like, say, can I create a reels about Bitcoin? Can I create a reels about Ethereum? Or can I talk about what Elon Musk is doing with crypto? Or so some of these things make it interesting for people to understand without actually putting in that effort. Like, so basically we want to teach without telling that we are a teacher.
Got it. TikTok style teaching, basically. And did your investors support the move to pivot to crypto? Because that space of neobanking for teenagers is a hot space, no? Like Fampe raised some $40 million Series A. There must have been some like investors feeling that if you had continued down that route, it would have been a similar outcome for you. And
we feel, and our investors feel, this is a hotter space where what we are today, because there is a lot more to build here, a lot more yet to happen. And even though there are a few companies in India, there is space for multiple tens of companies to come and build. The space is evolving so rapidly that one company can't build everything, right? So there will be differentiation, there will be different directions that people go. And these companies will be bigger because you're targeting like a whole the adults instead, right? So where the population is much, much higher. The spending power is much larger. And so we feel, and our investors feel, this is a better business with more upside than what we were doing earlier. The neobank for teens or youth is also a strong business, but we feel this has better probabilities of.
No, so definitely the upside is more, but the risk is also more. No, there is regulatory risk. There is risk of the fact that you have multiple unicorns in the field with you. So what makes you bullish that?
Same. There is going to be at least 10 more unicorns in the crypto space in the next 2 years, right?
Why do you feel that way? Why isn't crypto a winner-take-all market? Like, say, on search, Google and Bing, that's it. There's no third. So why isn't crypto like that?
So if you look at the global space, right, so you will find there are at least 50 huge companies in the crypto space, each doing different things, right? So even if you see the exchanges out there are some exchanges which focus on the very beginners. There are some which focus on the very advanced kind of users. There are many which have picked somewhere in between, right? And it's not just the crypto exchange, but there are more things like there is lending coming in, there is borrowing coming in, there is mutual funds coming in crypto. So everything that exists in the fiat world is going to happen in crypto. And there can be, so it's not just a Paytm, but there is going to be a Zerodha there is going to be a PhonePe there is going to be a Google Pay there is someone going to be winning fixed deposits. So it's definitely not a winner takes all kind of a market, right? So you need to, and in the next 2 years, many more things will come up which no one ever imagined. And one person and companies need to focus. So there's no way you can focus on 10 things. So there will be 10 companies which prioritizes on one thing that they want to focus on.
Got it. So like in early 2000s or maybe late 90s, there was this whole thing of portals like Yahoo, Alta Vista, all these portals were your gateway to the internet, AOL. And obviously at that time, one might have felt that why build another portal? But that has now evolved to now, like you have one search gateway to the internet, you have a shopping gateway to the internet, you have a social gateway to the internet, which those portals would do. So similarly, now what I understand is you're saying that a crypto exchange is like a gateway to crypto. It is a gateway to decentralized finance, let me say. And like building an exchange is just the first step. There would be like a gateway to lending through decentralized finance. There would be a gateway to earning interest on your money. There would be like all sorts of use cases. And an exchange is just the gateway. It is not the end game to build an exchange. Like, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. For some company, that might be the end game. For some, it may not be. right? Even if we take the things that can be built, like say lending, right? So there can be actually 100 ways of lending coming up out there. If it's about earning interest, there are hundreds of different protocols coming out there which give you interest. Like, what kind of risk do you want to take? What kind of returns do you want to get? What is the process there? Something is easy, something is hard, something has 5 steps, something has 2 steps. So there is lot of permutations, combinations out there, right? Like, let's say lending, do you want to lend to consumers? Do you want to lend to institutions? Do you want to lend to institutions in US, or do you want to lend to institutions in the Asia? So based on what you choose, if you see, like, do all these calculations, you will see that thousands of companies can come up, and it's happening. There are many new concepts coming up. Like, there is like something called staking, where you can put money and grow, get interest like much more than what banks offer today. And the bigger thing is crypto or blockchain is a global phenomenon. So when you are doing something like, say, you're lending, you're not restricted to India. So there are protocols and technologies coming in where a person in country A can lend to country B. And there's so much of leverage out there. I think those are strong points of here. And there can be 1,000 companies building stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So essentially, you're saying it's like the financial services industry. They're not just few companies. There are lots of companies. Some doing insurance, some doing traditional banking. Even in banking, there are different types of banks, and small finance bank and payments bank, and
yeah, insurance and everything is already coming up. There are companies building different parts of it and differentiating in different ways. So while in the maybe the teen banking space or the teen neo banking space, I think there is space only for maybe 2 or 3 companies to build stuff there. We were among the top 2 we could have retained. That's there, but we are more excited about this, where we feel a much larger business can be built here.
So what space are you going to occupy? And I'm talking long term, because as you said, there are so many different spaces to occupy. So what is the space that you will occupy?
So again, this is something that will evolve over time, right? So in terms of the business, we want to go on the social side, right? Because we feel this is going to be a game changer, where people don't invest alone, but do it with friends, with others. And this has been our big strength as well with the Walrus product, where how do we bring people together? That's why our previous product was also called Walrus Club. We call this Defy Club, right? Where we built it as a community, where we move money and people together, like me and my friends will invest together. So there can again be permutation and combinations of how this can happen. So that would be one strong direction we take. So whatever we think we build in future, we will think, can this be social? Can multiple people be involved? Can one person somehow empower the other person, right? So this is not being done by other companies out there. And we feel this is strong, and this can be a big differentiator out there. In terms of the core, we want to build products which are cool, build products which are simple, fun, gamified, right? So there's a whole different strategy to building products out there. And building an exchange was just a start. The next thing is, like, we are looking at different of these decentralized finance protocols where you can put money, earn interest, maybe lend. So those would be the bigger things, which are very complex for anyone to start out. What we are looking at is like how to dumb those down, how to simplify this, how to remove the need for learning out there. How do we reduce the risk of people of things going wrong, and bringing that to the common mass will be our key focus out there.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. And so this space of like targeting first time users does have, like, I think currently most of the other unicorns in the space are also looking at the similar, like, first time users, getting them on. What will be your differentiation from them? Like, is it social? Is that like the key differentiator? You want to build something which is more social and community led? Like,
so that is the first part of it. But as I said, like, the core things that we build, like how does our interest earning work? How does, like, say, our baskets work? How do we help people diversify, etc., will be different from these other companies out there as well. And as a customer matures, they don't stick to one product. They use different products for different use cases. And again, 90% of the innovation is yet to happen. So as more new things come, we will choose and bring those things into our system as well.
What do you think the regulatory landscape will look like? Currently, there is still no clarity on whether crypto investment is allowed or not, even though the government has made it a taxable investment. So what is just break down the regulatory stand of the government for our listeners. Like, what is the stand and what is it that you are expecting it to become, or what is it that you think it should become?
So the government hasn't made clear their stand formally yet. But what I've seen is the RBI and the Indian government are pro innovation. They, over the last several months, they have been in discussions with the various industry councils out there and trying to understand more of the nuances and what should they do. And so I feel the government is not going to ban it. They would let this ecosystem happen. And it's more like how internet was happening in 1990s. So I don't think any sane government would want to block it out. And India has the opportunity and the strength and the talent to be the powerhouse across the globe. And over the last 2 years, it has been a huge market for crypto as well, maybe just behind US and some other countries. So here, like, a boom is going to happen. And if the government chooses, the boom happens in India. And I think it would be quite foolish to cut it off. So I think that's what I would think, that it wouldn't go away. Taxes and all might be there because the government would want to be a part of the innovation. Like,
They want to take their cut, basically.
they want to take their cut as well.
But the concern of the government is essentially, I think, tax evasion, right? Like, people can hide income using crypto. Like, what is happening through the cash economy and why they did demonetization was supposedly for stopping tax evasion. So is that a valid concern?
That is a concern, but there are ways to mitigate it. So if actually banning crypto actually leads to more of it, more tax evasion will happen because you can't really track it. But if they don't ban and encourage and support the Indian players to become big, then most of the crypto transactions will actually happen through them. And these companies would be supportive, would be open to sharing details with the government in terms of what's volumes happening. If there is some misuse by someone, they will do proper KYC and they will play a role in removing the bad elements and letting the good elements prosper. If it's banned, then only the bad elements will prosper because they will go underground and do all sorts of things which shouldn't happen. Because I think the common man then will miss out and lose out on the opportunity to grow wealth. Only the people who can go underground and do stuff without getting detected will prosper. So that's not good.
Okay. And what is the runway you have right now? You raised funds. When did you raise those $5 million?
That was in September
2021. Okay. And so
we have a good runway. Yeah, maybe 2 years.
Okay. So next 2 years, you don't need to raise. You just want to build, get traction. And once there is that proof of concept and traction is when you will look to raise.
No, so we don't need to raise just to maybe to survive, but the idea is to win as well. So we do need to raise to win.
What is your timeline then? When do you think you'll do your next raise?
So we have launched our product and we are seeing good traction and all as well. So we would be starting that process soon.
This was the Spotlight presented by The Podium. To listen to more such interesting conversations, log on to thepodium.in.